What's up guys, welcome back to the DIY Haircut Studio. You're here with Dash with Ash. So a bit of a quick one today. I wanted to show you how I hold the comb and how I hold the scissors. So arguably the second most important tools is your scissor and comb together. So obviously these generally tend to work in tandem unless you're doing sort of sectioning or parting. That would be the only time when the comb is used on its own. Again, with the scissors, you're rarely freehand cutting. I would never want to see any of you guys using the scissors freehand across any parts of your hair. You always want to be using that comb to help you. So the basics are, you've got your scissors like this. So usually hair cutting scissors, and it would be really good if you can find some hair cutting scissors around the house or online with this little extra beveled edge here. Don't really know what this is called, maybe a little wing of some sort. What this is really useful for is allowing you to rest your fingers here. So the key to this is applying your sort of ring finger on your strong hand into the outer hole with this little wing tip. So I put, generally, most people when they're cutting with normal scissors will put their middle finger into this outer hole. But what I'd really recommend, and what most barbers tend to do, I've seen online and in barbershops, is they add their ring finger of their strong hand into the furthest hole. And then you can see you make a sort of flat palm with a flat scissor. And that is the basics of how you want to hold it. You then naturally put your thumb into here, and you've got that straight edge. So with your hand, you can see my hand is straight and your thumb is in here. Naturally, again, when everyone's cutting scissors, they move both blades to cut as they wish. So imagine you're cutting some paper, both things are moving. Naturally, that's what everyone tends to do. What I want you to do is to, again, hold the scissors like this, but only pivot your thumb. So you can do this by practicing on some pieces of paper, however you want, but you can see only my thumb is moving. This blade here is not moving at all. You can see only my thumb that's pivoting. And this is really key to hair cutting, is what I've noticed. If you're moving like this, there's much more room for error essentially. If you keep the one blade moving, this blade can always remain constant. So if you're cutting some hair like this, it can always remain stable, and it gives you that fresher, cleaner cut, is what I've noticed. So a really, really important thing while holding the scissors and also cutting. The second really important thing to know is how to hold the comb. So generally I use the wider teeth at most times. Only when I'm doing the top with wet hair, I'll use the thinner ones when I want to stretch that really tight to make sure everything's very even and straight along the top. So generally how I tend to hold the comb is using these three fingers, your thumb, your first finger and your second finger or middle finger. You want to hold the comb very lightly, which allows you to bend and move and flex as you need. And then when you need to, you can use that strength in your fingers to keep it steady or straight. Imagine the wall is the head. So generally I would be holding the comb flat against the person's head with my sort of 3, maybe 4 fingers all holding the comb steady. And you just want it to naturally go up and then you flick. So did you see what I did there? It was a pull up and then just slowly rotate to come down. If I was to do that myself, you're pulling down and then flicking and then pulling up and then flicking down. So very simple, very lightweight. The next step to that, again, when you're cutting hair, imagine this is the person's head. So you would be cutting up naturally and you'd be following the scissors with the comb upwards. And again, remember, only one blade is moving. Holding the comb like this, with the scissors gliding along the bottom of the comb. And you can imagine that the hair is flicking out through the bottom of the comb. very easy to master to start with, but what I'd recommend is just practicing freehand, holding that comb with the scissors going up, imagining that you're cutting someone's hair, and you just keep doing that until you feel comfortable by holding the scissors up against the comb. You can also practice on paper, so I would do a little bit of cutting technique, just practicing only moving the thumb against the paper. That's what I used to do. It really works, I'd really recommend it. You'll get way better at only moving the thumb, and then you can also just practice this freehand whenever you get the chance. So let me know how it goes. You can send me some videos if you want of you trying to do it. I can answer your questions and maybe what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, and leave me some feedback in the comments of how you're getting on. Make sure you remember to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.